Modern life offers an endless array of time management apps and high-performance diets, yet the prevailing feeling for many is one of chronic burnout. When the brain faces an overwhelming cognitive load, it triggers a biological shutdown to protect its resources. We often experience this as a sudden loss of drive, though the cause is neurobiological rather than a lack of character. This creates a cycle where we study for hours only to forget the material by morning, or attempt intense health regimes while the body continues to accumulate stubborn visceral fat. The Western response to this plateau is usually to increase effort, to grind harder against the fatigue. However, a historically proven alternative suggests that high performance comes from bypassing these biological bottlenecks entirely. Japanese culture provides a blueprint for this efficiency. By focusing on systemic movement rather than chaotic hustle, individuals can achieve high-level results with significantly less wasted energy. High performance depends on aligning our daily habits with our biological hardwiring, rather than treating every task as a battle of wills. Learning efficiency is primarily limited by cognitive overload and the natural rapid decay of new information. Default methods like passive reading or cramming fail because they don't stimulate the brain enough to build long-term neural pathways. The information simply doesn't stick. Japanese students often utilize a more disciplined methodology to master complex subjects. They focus on the mechanics of memory, allowing them to retain information in a fraction of the time spent by those using traditional repetition. This method centers on active recall. By closing the book and forcing the brain to retrieve information from memory, you signal to your neurons that this specific data is vital for survival. When paired with spaced repetition, timing these retrieval attempts for the moment you are most likely to forget, the brain is forced to work even harder to reconstruct the memory. This diagram shows the result. Passive reading creates a weak connection, but active retrieval physically thickens the neural pathway. Students enhance this by blurting, dumping knowledge onto a page to spot missing nodes and focus on what's forgotten. Intellectual mastery grows from the intensity of the retrieval process, not the total number of hours spent at a desk. Physical exhaustion follows a similar systemic logic. Just as the brain can be overloaded, the body can be trapped by its own hormonal responses, specifically the cortisol fat trap. Many Western routines start with a high-stress morning and a breakfast high in refined sugars. This combination triggers a predictable biological chain reaction. When elevated cortisol from stress meets high insulin from sugar, the body receives a clear chemical signal to store visceral belly fat as an emergency energy reserve. Contrast this with the traditional Japanese approach, which prioritizes metabolic stability through a balanced intake of fermented foods and specific proteins. Ingredients like miso, natto, and green tea are biological tools. They help stabilize blood sugar and lower baseline insulin levels, preventing the hormonal spikes that drive fat storage. Here is the metabolic difference over 24 hours. A spiking profile forces the body into storage mode, whereas a stable baseline allows the metabolism to efficiently utilize visceral fat for daily energy needs, even at rest. Managing a healthy physique is an endocrine challenge that requires a systemic solution rather than an unsustainable reliance on willpower. These methods are specific applications of the Japanese philosophy of kaizen, or continuous incremental improvement. In an industrial context, kaizen is about refining a system to remove friction. In a biological context, it's about refining your habits to remove stress. When you apply kaizen to your brain and body, you stop fighting against your own biology. You are no longer trying to force results through friction, but rather optimizing the process so the results become a natural byproduct. True productivity requires this scientific understanding of our own biology. We achieve our goals most effectively when our habits are aligned with the way our neurons and hormones actually function. For those who feel ambitious but find themselves stuck in a cycle of burnout, the solution isn't more effort, it's a more efficient system. By managing biological stress and refining how you learn, you can move toward your goals with significantly less friction. It's about working with your biology. The easy way, actually.